Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harris and I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books, and today it's a Friday show. So every Friday we sit down and we talk about the books that I've read this week, the books that I'm reading next week, the videos I've made this week, the videos I'm making next week, and then everything else that kind of comes underneath what I want to chat about. So let's start with the books I have been reading. So I have been reading still Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. I have read, since the last time we talked, one chapter. So I said before that I'm only reading this physically because I had this lovely illustrated edition. Let me show you guys an illustration. Let me find something cool. In fact, that's a good one. Ooh. So like, great page, gives a real vibe of what's happening, and like the way it's written is really nice. I love the writing and the layout and the design of the illustrated edition. So I've been really liking that specific edition, but the problem is sitting myself down, getting the massive hardback out. A lot of my reading is like as and when I have time or space for it. I just haven't really had time to sit down with a book this week, but I've had a lot of like 5 to 10 minute gaps or time where I've been able to listen to an audiobook, and in that time I have listened to / read an entire book which is Time Marked Warlock by Seamus Doval. So this book, big fan. Huge fan. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about kind of the concept of the book, and then we'll talk a little bit about like the execution and why I like it so much. So I'm going to put this down now because I mostly just held that up for a prop. This book's on Kindle Unlimited, and I was already also sent a copy by the author, and however this does not. I paid for the audio book with my own money. There's no incentive or whatever. Like, I've not been influenced to enjoy this book, but just to let you know, I was sent a free copy. I love this book. It is an urban fantasy in a brand new urban fantasy world. It's set in our world, really. It's set in LA. And the main character is called Adair Finch, and he's a warlock who has made a pact with the god of time, basically. And what this means is that he's able to manipulate time, but the one specific way he's able to do it is he's able to mark a moment in time and then rewind back to it. So, this kind of becomes murder mystery Groundhog Day starring kind of Harry Dresden. It's very, very reminiscent of the Dresden Files because it is a mystery, and I would even say maybe a mystery thriller in the same sort of mould as a like noir fiction Dresden Files style thing. Adair Finch is a former private investigator who used to investigate magical crimes. Then something pretty awful happens to him and he kind of goes into hiding. But then kind of a friend from his past, or someone who knows a friend from his past crops up and is like, I need your help. And Adair is Adair decides to help them and to bring them along on this journey. So we've got kind of three major characters. We've got Adair, we've got Bree, who is a young girl who is kind of dipping her toe into the world of magic for the first time. And then we have Cole, who is a spirit that is bonded to Adair. So the warlocks in the world of Time Marked Warlock are able to bond up to 5 different entities, and he bonds Cole to get access to their like trickster magic, and then ends up kind of taking them along for the ride as well, due to the terms and conditions of the bond, basically. And so I read a smaller amount of this. One of the big reasons I picked this book for Self-Pub September is that not a lot of self-pub books have audio, and I really like to do about half and half of my reading time to audio. And in fact, you'll see this week I think probably I listened to about 70% of this book, because I just had no physical reading time, but I had tons of audio time. So traveling to work events, doing the food shopping, picking the kids up and dropping them off from school and stuff. And well, when they're in the car, I don't listen to audiobooks, but like on the way there. So I had a ton of audio time, and that meant that I just blasted through this book. I really, really loved it. The audiobook is really good in particular because it's multiple narrators. So it's not like a full dramatization, but there's 3 narrators, and so there's like one that does the actual narration, one that does the character, the lead, Adair Finch, and that narrator is Jeff Hayes of Dungeon Crawler Carl fame, and then the third narrator is kind of doing all the other male characters. Huge shout out to the audiobook production on this one. Sound Booth Theatre really knocked it out of the park. It's not often that I notice how good an audiobook's production is, but this really was. It really added to the story as well. There was no, like, I really liked in Red Rising where each narrator had their own, each kind of POV had their own narrator. And while this isn't that, it's really nice to hear dialogue, like male dialogue from a male actor and female dialogue from a female voice actor. And I hadn't really heard that too much in the past. Obviously in books like Wheel of Time, they have a dual narrator, and like Michael Kramer will do his terrible woman's voice, or something like that. But I think that this approach really, really worked for me, and especially because the author is female as well, you get the kind of authorial narrator's voice. Then you have the like female characters, the male characters, and them all being split gave those characters a lot of personality as well, especially to characters like Adair and to Cole, the spirit. Both had like really strong personalities, and I really, really liked that. This book is a huge recommendation from me if you are a fan of the Dresden Files specifically. I feel like it's really scratched that Dresden itch. Very similar to how the Debt Collection series did, that was by Andrew Gibler, which I'm going to read another of this month as well. And that will actually get me up to date on the Debt Collection, which is very sad, and Andrew will need to write more books for me. But there are 2 more in the Kronos Chronicles, which is the Time March Warlock series. So I've got 2 more of those, which is awesome, and they both have audiobooks as well. So yeah, really, really excited to get to more of these books, and I may genuinely try and fit another one in this month, because it was a really quick read, really fun, and I just, like I said, love the audio production of it. If you are a Dresden fan, I'm 99.9% certain that you will like it. And for those of you who have kind of qualms about Dresden because you've heard that it's like very horny, very male gazy, this series is written by a woman, so you don't have any of that really in this. So I don't know whether there was any female gay stuff and I glossed over it, but to me this story was really well done and really well written, and I'll be doing a review of it soon. I'm not sure when. Oh no, the review will come out 1 week on Monday. So Monday's review is going to be Dungeon Crawler Carl, so that's on the 8th of September. So that means 15th of September you'll see my full review for Time Marked Warlock, although I'm probably going to film it way before then, so I've got a good memory of the story. But that is, I spent a long time talking about this book because it's so good. I rated it 5 stars. I initially rated it 4 stars, and then I looked at it and I was like, what's wrong with this book? Nothing. I'm just going to give it 5 stars because it's fantastic and I have such a good time with it. moving on to what I'm reading next. So I still want to finish Northern Lights, and I know I said last weekend that I'm going to finish it this weekend, but I got so into Time March Warlock, and then also got so into Time March Warlock, and then lost. I mean, like 3 evenings out of the like 5 since we last spoke, I have been busy all evening, and so one of those I was at the gym all evening. One of those I was watching Bake Off with my wife, and then one of those I was doing the food shop. So like, yeah, I only had 2 evenings to read, and to be fair, I did choose to read Time March Warlock when I had those evenings. But yeah, hopefully I'm going to finish Northern Lights. I'd love to say I'm going to finish it this weekend. That would be great. Don't know if that's going to happen, but that's kind of like in the back of my mind as an idea. The next book I was going to read was going to be the next Hybrid Helix book, but that obviously doesn't have audio, so I need to pick an audiobook partner for it. So I'll need to think of something that can partner up with it. And I don't want to read Death Tax, which is the next deck collection book, straight away, because that's also kind of Dresden Files adjacent. So I'm in a weird spot in terms of what books to read, because I had picked the 5 books, and I don't know if I want to read Dungeon Crawler Carl next. That would be the sensible choice. The other option is I have been looking at a couple of extra indie books to add to Self-Pub September. I don't think that this is a sensible thing to do, but I am thinking about it. So I'm thinking about adding either Rise of the Ranger by Philip C. Quaintrell, or I think it's called Darkblade by Andy Pelequin. So both of those are on the cusp because they both have audio, and I own both of those ebooks, so I would only need to go and pick up the audio. So that's the thought process. So do I do Dungeon Crawler Carl, or do I do a more traditional fantasy? I'm leaning towards traditional fantasy because I only have one other traditional fantasy book on the TBR for this month, and if I can get into either Philip C. Quaintrell or Andy Pelequin, that will be something a bit more traditional. I feel like Philip C. Quaintrell may be a bit more traditional than Andy Pelequin. The reviews on them both are very strong, so yeah, it's an interesting choice. So I don't know whether I want to go with like Rise of the Ranger, which is meant to be like very traditional, like classic fantasy, or you have Darkblade, which is, I believe that it is that Andy Pelequin wrote it because he wanted more assassin fantasy, because he read Brent Weeks' can't remember the name of the trilogy, the Assassin trilogy that he wrote that looked like it was an Assassin's Creed tie-in. That series that Brent Weeks wrote, I think Andy Pelequin read that and was like, I want more of these books, but he's not writing more of these books, so I guess I'll start writing my own series. And it kind of evolved into where it is now, where it's like 11 books in, and I get his newsletter because he seems like a really nice guy, so I was like, I'll support him, I'll read his newsletter. And he mentioned in a recent one that the last book that he put out actually ended on a big cliffhanger, and that enticed me into being like, I should read these books. So yeah, we've got those two are on the cusp of maybe getting thrown on the TBR. It might end up that I just look at them both and go, okay, which audiobook is shorter? And I do, like I said, still plan on reading and finishing Northern Lights. Ironic that I'm going to be finishing a traditionally published book in Self-Pub September, but those two self-published series I am genuinely thinking I should probably get around to. And I've been wanting to for forever, and I don't want to read Hybrid Helix yet, because, well, as soon as I finish Northern Lights, I'll pick up Hybrid Helix, Shield of the Mothership. So that's kind of the future reading plans, I guess. In terms of other stuff, videos wise, so this week you guys got 2 videos from me, well 3 including this one. So Monday was my review for A Memory of Light, the final book in the Wheel of Time. It was a non-spoiler review, and when I say non-spoiler, I mean it was non-spoiler for that specific book, so I don't like tell you how it ends, but I do mention important plot elements to A Memory of Light from previous books, if that makes sense. So if you watch that A Memory of Light review, you will get some mild spoilers for the series, or maybe even some heavy spoilers for the series, but nothing for that specific book. As I start to read more and more and more long series, I am finding the non-spoiler review format a little bit more restricting, and I am probably, apart from Malazan, probably going to start doing spoiler reviews for sequels. So first book in the series will be a non-spoiler, sequels will be full spoiler. The only time I might not do that is if it's a new release and people might be looking for so say for example I read the whole of Darkblade or whatever, and the new Darkblade book is coming out, I will probably do a non-spoiler review for that, just so that people who haven't got to the book yet can watch the video and be like, oh, where should I prioritize this on my TBR, if that makes sense. I find that I much more prefer spoiler reviews anyway, so I feel like it's something I should have done ages and ages and ages ago. And like I said before, like sequel reviews are difficult because you either say nothing so that you don't talk about anything that's been previously done, or you just go, fuck it, I'm gonna actually just tell you what's happened in this book. So difficult times, not for me or you really, but it's a decision I'm still cooking on, and it won't be the case for Malazan, because for those I'll be doing full spoiler discussions, but for other series that might be something we start doing. If you hate that idea, let me know. Next up, I did the August wrap up. Much fewer people watch this than have watched previous wrap-up videos, which is a curiosity for me. I don't know why, but that's what's happened. I had some great reading times in August, I'll be honest with you. I read one 5-star book that's like probably book of the year, and then a book that I thoroughly, 2 books that I thoroughly enjoyed. So yeah, top month. And then today is the Friday show. Next week, I don't think I have a plan for my Wednesday video, and Monday will be the Dungeon Crawler Carl book 4 review. So yeah, Dungeon Crawler Carl book 4 on Monday. Don't know if I'll have anything on Wednesday. If Matt finishes A Memory of Light and we have time to do a spoiler discussion, maybe that will go up on Wednesday. Otherwise, I mean, I'm tempted to do a video about how, like, announcing that I'm reading Malazan, just for the people who don't watch these videos, so that they know what's going on, and give you guys like my reasoning and my thoughts and when I'm going to start, that sort of thing. But for now, don't really know. One of the big things about moving on from Wheel of Time to Malazan is I do actually want to tell Malazan fans who might not be subscribed to the channel that I'm going to start reading it. I don't know whether the way to do that is to do it in like a short or to do a full video about it. I know some channels do like a why I'm going to read. I could also do a books I want to read for the rest of the year, like new releases. But who knows? Let me know if any of those topics excite you, and maybe if I get some comments that lean one way or the other, I'll do that. There'll obviously be a Friday show next week as well, and that's it. That's all for videos. In terms of non-bookish stuff, I have been watching the Peacemaker show. We're 3 episodes in. Really loving that show. Laughed a lot at last week's episode in particular, but this week had some good solid laughs in it as well. And kind of a fun return for a character I was kind of expecting, but I don't know if anyone else was. It's also funny to see Roy from The Office as a superhero. And then our Bake Off was okay. I don't think the technical challenge was very fair. If you watch Bake Off, let me know your thoughts. And in fact, that's probably where we should end the episode, because I don't know what else I have to talk about. I did read Absolute Flash issue 1, but I need to read more. I also need to genuinely sit down and start working on videos about comics for an eventual comic book channel. I've got a ton of ideas, but have actually done zero work apart from kind of spitballing and having fun thinking about ideas. So could be more organised. Anyway, I really hope that you've enjoyed watching this video. I really like making these weekly catch-ups with you specifically, you watching this. And if you have liked the video, you should tell YouTube about it by liking this video. Drop a comment down below as well telling me what you're reading this weekend. I'd love to find out some great new books that I've never heard of before. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, you should do, because you've just watched an entire video about me chatting shit about my life. So please subscribe, join our lovely little community. We're on that road to, I don't know, should we say road to 2,000 subs? Probably take 2 years to get there, but you know, maybe one day. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll speak to you on Monday.